Thank you guys for subscribing. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. It really helps out the channel. Now let's dive into a few baits that will get you a bite in the month of April when nothing else will. This month can be really enjoyable to fish. The weather's nice. You do have some big fish that are up shallow spawning. There's some things that are going on offshore. Those fish are just getting to their first stop offshore. So you don't have fish that have been sitting on one spot for very long. Therefore, you present them something new and you can get them to bite. They may not be there for very long, but you can catch really big bags this time of year. Now, the problem with that is you have so many fish doing so many different things, you don't really have a definite answer as to what you should be doing. This is the junk fishing time of the year. You may have to go skip a jig under a boat dock, then come out of the pocket and go throw a wacky rig around some grass, and then pick up a crankbait and start cranking out in 15 feet of water just to fill a limit because the fish are in so many different modes this time of year. The other issue you'll run into in the month of April, because the fish are moving so much, is you may think, I have found the winning spot. We were there yesterday and the day before, and as soon as we pulled up, bang, bang, we're catching them every cast. That can go away in the drop of a hat. You may come back the day of the tournament, or you may come back, a couple days after you had really caught them there and say, well, let's go just catch a bunch of fish, and there be nothing there. These fish are on the move in the month of April. It can be really frustrating. So what I mean by this whole scenario is you may have the winning spot, it may turn into nothing in the matter of a few hours, and you may have to pick up something like a fluke and just go grub you out a limit. Now, everyone knows about the wacky rig. The wacky rig is probably the best bait you can throw in the month of April because you have fish that are spawning, you have fish that are shallow cruising, you have fish that are getting on docks, you're having fish that are just in a Cinco wacky rig type mood, and they're mostly in that depth. You have fish that are in that 6 to 2 foot range. That's where that bait really shines, and it gets bites when no other bait will. And there's baits that if you don't have the right conditions in the month of April, they just won't bite. All the good pre-spawn baits have been shown to these fish a lot, and they're just not in a feeding mood. So a lot of the baits that work really well don't work so great this time of year. So the wacky rig, you can rig that up a couple different ways. I like it on both the split shot drop shot hook, which is kind of like an octopus circle hook type hook, and then also just a round bend hook. So when I'm throwing the round bend hook, I like an O'Shaughnessy bend 2/0 round bend hook, straight shank, and I can rig that up on braid or fluorocarbon. I don't really think there's a definite science. It all comes down to the way you like to set the hook and the way you like to fight fish. So when I'm fishing with that O'Shaughnessy bend round bend hook, I am setting the hook. I'm not just pulling into it, I'm setting the hook. So if that's the type of fisherman you are, try that Gamakatsu 2/0 straight shank O'Shaughnessy bend. Now if you're the type that likes to kind of just reel down and pull, that split shot drop shot hook is really good. Try the 1/0. You can rig them up with the little band that goes over your bait, or you can just rig it straight through the bait. Either way works really well. Figure it out for yourself on those things because we all fish differently. There's no perfect science in bass fishing. Now, if you're getting that bait hung up a little bit too much, it's just not really efficient in the type of water you're fishing in, a soft plastic jerk bait like a Super Fluke is a really good offering this time of year. It's a great spawning bait. You can dead stick it around bedding fish, or you can be working it and get a lot of those post-spawn fish to bite. There's something about that darting action when the fish are in the post-spawn spawn that can get them to trigger on days when they won't eat a swim jig, or they won't eat a spinner bait, or those other really popular post-spawn baits. This bait fishes really well through all kinds of grass. Doesn't matter if it's submergent or emergent grass, it just does really well. It's very weedless and very realistic. You don't need wind or clouds or anything to get them to bite this. This is a bait that works calm, sunny days. It's also a great bait for fish that are still guarding fry. You reel this through the fry balls and those fish just can't stand it. So try a super fluke in the post spawn month of April. It's dynamite bait this time of year. The other one would be a swimming worm. You rig that up with the Texas rig. That's going to catch a lot of your spawning bass, you know, like a speed worm with like a 3/16 ounce weight, a 4/0 round bend worm hook. And that's really good when you need to kind of fish that bait rather, a little bit further off the bank. You can throw it up into where there's shallow and then kind of fish it way back out. So that's a great bait this time of year because you still have the fish in all phases, and that will entice fish in all phases. So the speed worm is another great bait. So try those 3 baits. These are baits that will bail you out of tough situations. Your fish may leave, or you may just have one of those days where they're just not biting the big fish offerings, and you have to finesse them, but you also can still cover water and power fish. So try a speed worm rigged up Texas style with a bullet weight on it, a fluke, and a wacky rig. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you on the water.